This is the very first garden bed I had here, and it was just this little tiny one right until there. The first things that we planted in here, and this was a mess, this was before I really gardened anything. I had a tomato plant in here with some bee balm and a strawberry and a lavender. Since then I have learned a lot, and I believe this is still bee balm back here growing, but I might be wrong. We'll see what kind of pops up there. And the strawberry is still there somewhere in here, though I never seem to get a strawberry. Hello. Hello. And hi. So it seems like a mess because we just cut the grass yesterday, so there's clippings everywhere. And everything I planted in here was between the new moon and the full moon, while the moon was in the waxing phase. A bumblebee. Everything that I planted in here needed that phase, except for I have some radishes over here, and because they're below ground, they could be planted from the full moon to the last quarter phase. They kind of needed to get an ASAP. So yeah, so I have radishes over here, and I planted a rosemary. So we'll see how big that one gets. And here I have some bush beans. And I don't know how well that's doing. That one might not be great. This one's okay. And some marigolds. These were bought for Mother's Day from my niece and nephew, and look how cute they are. So marigold is always a good idea to plant in your veg beds, or everywhere actually. It's an amazing companion plant. It attracts pollinators and kind of keeps the pests away from your veg. So this trellis I made last year, and I just put some twine around it yesterday, though I will definitely need to be fixing it because it was at the end of the day and I was tired. But I have peas here, some sugar snap peas. I forget the name of them, but I can look at the package and check. So these peas will climb up, and then this guy here, same thing. And I planted some peas on the end there, and then there's some bush beans in between. And there's some peas here, which I will also need to be staking. So I'm hoping to vacuum seal and freeze these peas when they come in and throw them in some stir fries. I really enjoy fresh peas, but I am allergic, so they have to be cooked, unfortunately. And then I threw down a whole bunch of seeds in here. Some are coming up, but I can't remember what because I never label anything. I believe I put in nasturtiums. Oh yeah, you can see a little nasturtium seed right there, which maybe a squirrel was digging up. Oh no. We'll pop it back in. We have a lot of bunnies and a lot of squirrels in here, so I like to plant a lot just to feed everyone. A little for them and a little for me. So yeah, hopefully some nasturtiums in here. A nasturtium is also a great companion plant with veg. It grows vining and low to the ground, so it's really great to give shade and like kind of like a cover crop, attracting pollinators and repelling the pests away from what we want to eat. And the leaves are, or the flowers are edible. Maybe the leaves, but I haven't tried it. So yeah, that's my very first bed. And this is May, so we'll see how it progresses. So taking us over to the second bed here. This was the second bed my husband built. It's kind of, you can see there, like added on. And he built this in, I want to say 2020 for COVID, when I really started to garden. So that one was 2019, this one was 2020. And originally I had, again, everything in here, but it was mostly a zucchini patch. And now we have a couple different things going on. So at the far end there is peppermint, which I took for free off Facebook Marketplace. And I know it's a crazy spreader and everyone says don't plant it in your garden. And originally when I planted that, I think 2 years ago, I wanted all of this to be peppermint, mint, lemon balm, take over. And now I think I might move it, mostly because I want this bed to be like savory herbs opposed to like the mint. So there's some spearmint there, and this one is brand new this year because I can't find spearmint tea anywhere locally, and it's really great for like PCOS and for women in general to have some spearmint tea. So I'm hoping to have this prolific, and maybe I might move it. I'll show you where in a minute. My lemon balm, and I believe I planted that one last year. And it's amazing, but also it takes over. And then here I have sage, which I cook with. I use sage oil for magic, but I don't burn sage. I don't smudge with it. And yeah, my peppermint. And then planted, see all these little green sprouts? I threw down chamomile seeds in a chaotic sort of manner. So I think there will be chamomile all along here. In the middle here, I can't fully remember what I planted, but I believe there's gonna be zinnias. And in the back here, sunflowers. So all along the back there's sunflowers. All in here, zinnias. And something is coming up here. Maybe chamomile. And I always plant things thinking I'll remember what they are, and I forget. But it's kind of like a surprise when they do come up. Like a little Christmas. Alright, and then in the back here, these are my loofahs that I started from seed in March during the waxing moon phase. And I'm not sure how well they're doing. I built this trellis yesterday as well, just out of old sticks that I had and twine. And obviously I'm gonna have to fix the other strings. But I planted more loofah seeds, and they're squash, so I think they'll come up really fast, and we'll see. But I'm hoping to have a ton and harvest and dry them out and be able to use them this year. Alright, so coming here, this bed originally extended here and ended right there. And I would use this little part of it as like a pumpkin patch, which I've never grown one pumpkin. I don't know why, I just could never get it going. So this year my husband built it up a little bit just to get it off the ground, and our soil is not great. So I amended it with nicer soil and compost. And oh, it looks like somebody was digging a couple holes there. So what I have going on here, all in the back here are giant sunflowers. So I hope they come up. And kind of here too. And there's a motherwort growing, a couple of them. So I'm hoping to let them go to flower, and I'll be harvesting them. They're really great for women as well. Good if you have like cramps or things like that. So I'll kind of show you guys what I do with that. And then here I have 2 zucchini plants that I bought at our local nursery. And I planted right here some zucchini seeds. So I'm hoping to have 3 plants all together, and we'll see how the seeds do. And again, I have the same marigold. Oh, it looks like this one came up with 2. That was from Mother's Day. And I have oregano, and this was 1 plant that I split into 2. And thyme. And then I did plant some seeds in here too, I think nasturtium, but again, I forget. So we'll see when they come up. And it should be interesting. And then this bed was my Mother's Day gift from my husband. So we used to have a big shed here that did nothing. It was totally broken. We took it down 2 years ago, and I had thrown a whole bunch of compost on the ground. You can still see some, hoping that it would really amend the soil here. But it was like we couldn't even break it down, so we just had to build on top of it. So it really only went up to here, and then we filled up from here some dirt that we got from his colleague for free, so that was really kind. And then I just went to Canadian Tire, and we got bags of potting mix and manure. And it's still not full enough, but I really need to get this planted before the full moon in a couple days, and it just needed to get done. So we'll leave it as it is. And I think next year we'll just keep topping it. So, oh my god, I got cut off, so hopefully that is a little less noisy, but everyone seems to want to be mowing their lawns today. So we'll try again. These 3 little tomatoes right there are the ones that I started from seed this year, and I definitely needed to up-pot them, and I never did, so they might be a little stifled. This one seems to be doing the best. I don't even know what kind they are, because again, I never label anything. So I will be staking these ones, and then these ones are in cages. So I think this one is a yellow boy, like kind of cherry tomatoes, but they're yellow. And then this one is like an heirloom, so all different kinds. And then companion planted with basil. So this was 1 plant that I just divided up. And then all back here is sunflower. Giant lemon queen sunflower. So I'm really hoping that they do well. And then in here I planted pinwheel marigold seeds. And they're gonna be so pretty. And cilantro, and then I planted cilantro seeds all along here, just so I can have some fresher stuff come up. And I planted some more sunflowers right there just to fill the gap. So these will all need to be staked. And then in here I have sweet alyssum all in here, and they will grow nice, big and bushy. And then in here I planted, I think it's called butter crunch lettuce. So I planted the seeds kind of along here and then in here. And then this is my little pepper corner. So I have Ring of Fire pepper, and I'm hoping that it's spicy enough I can use it for piri. And this is a ghost pepper, which my son loves ghost peppers, and the jalapeno, which we devour jalapenos constantly. And I did label them. So I just did this yesterday, and I just thought better. And I put another rosemary right here. Hopefully she'll get nice and big. And then all along here is night and day nasturtium. So I'm hoping that it'll kind of trail us right over, and it'll be so pretty. And I'm hoping year after year this will kind of develop, and I'll see what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, all the peppers still need to be staked. And then this is like a little compost corner, very neglected. But this is a wild Alberta wild rose. And we need to get in there and prune back all the dead, but it is really prickly, very, very thorny. And the flowers are really pretty, and it's extremely fragrant, so I love it. And then, don't mind the mess, we're cleaning up the back. But this is kind of my chaos garden, and chaos it is. So we had a maple here, a volunteer maple, and we let it grow because it was so pretty, and we like really loved the shade it gave. But it did grow through the fence, you can kind of see there. So we had to take it down, and I loved how shady it was, but now we have full sun back here. And when we took it down, all the wood chips kind of just decomposed into the grass. There's no lawn here. And instead of wasting valuable resources to fix the lawn, I decided to try and make this something. So in this back corner there, it seems like a little bit of a wasteland. So I actually took a whole bunch of lavender cuttings from my dying lavender plant in the front and just popped them in the soil. And we'll see, probably nothing will happen this year, but next year I'm really hoping that we'll have lavender in this little corner. And another motherwort right there. And I don't take dandelions out of my garden. They're nitrogen fixers, they really help the soil, so when they show up, I just let them do its job. So all back there by the old window, which broke over the winter, I'm so sad about it. All back there I planted nasturtium and sunflowers. And then this big guy is a blueberry plant that I'm shocked is alive. My sister gave me this guy in the winter, or in the fall, and I never planted it. So over the winter, it kind of just sat, bare root, I guess. And I thought it was a goner, but it started producing flowers. So I thought I'd put it here next to my old blueberry, which is right over here, right in there. I heard that you need 2 blueberries so that they can kind of cross-pollinate, and then I heard somewhere else that that is kind of like a myth, so I don't really know. And then in here, these lovely plants are the larkspur that I started by seed in March during the waxing moon phase. And these are the July flowers, so I'm a Cancer. This is my flower. And I've never planted them before, so we'll see what kind of comes up. And then in between there, I planted delphinium seeds. And I really, really, really love delphiniums, but I find they're picky for me. So I'm not sure. Kind of seems to be the theme of the garden. We'll see what happens. Along the back there, I planted sunflowers and lupins. And lupins really love like a little neglect, some shitty soil. So I think this garden would be nice for it. Nothing has come up yet, and usually when you plant lupin seeds, they may come this year, but sometimes it's like the next year. I hear that they need cold scarification, maybe planting them in the fall. So I'm gonna try both. I did plant them in the spring, but we'll see. I threw down a ton of zinnias in here as well. Cosmos, nasturtium. This guy right here is a blue sage salvia. And I just planted it this year because I really love salvia. It should grow like this big. The bees love her. And it's really pretty. Takes up a lot of space if you need to fill in some gaps. Prickly plant just showed up there, and I'm just leaving it for now. And here is my black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia, and she's a perennial as well. Just have some perennials in here, and then mixed with the annual seeds. And this takes up a lot of space too, so in a couple years hopefully it will be big enough to divide, and then I can give it to friends. So over here, this is where the tree stump was. Last year I had grown lavender, and it died off and was really leggy. So I did take a video of how I'm propagating it, but I just cut it right back to the green growth. All what was growing, I just put in the ground, and we'll see if it comes up next year. And then look at these seeds here. So because I chaos gardened this, I just mixed the seeds all together and threw them down and raked them in. It could be lupin. That's what it looks like to me. It could be nasturtium. But I'm guessing right now, like, it's lupin. I also threw down calendula and borage and chamomile down here too. So it's a really good mix. And again, I leave the dandelions. And this is my chive. I really love it. The flowers are really pretty. And I got it off of Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago. And I put it in the ground last year. I just let it sit in the bucket that I took it home in for a couple years. But I really, really love chives. We used to grow them in the country when I was a kid. And waiting for the bus in the morning, we would just like come up and eat chives. And then we would smell like onions all day. And my raspberry that I planted just last year and already has babies coming up. I hear a lot of people say they hate raspberry because it's kind of like a weed, and that's what I really love about it. I want low maintenance. And in back here I planted a little blackberry baby because I'm hoping for the same thing. Just a whole sprawling like brambles, I guess. And I tried to do veg in these felt like fabric pots last year, and they really did not do well. So I put them in our driveway, and my husband's mechanic, so we're constantly working on things, and it's always a mess back here. So I planted some giant sunflowers. So I'm hoping it kind of grows up and it hides this mess so that I can just look at beautiful flowers all summer. And then this one is a chamomile that's coming up from last year. So I'm really excited about that. And a little oregano from last year as well, and just more sunflowers. And then this guy is new too. It's a shrub rose, and it's an oh so easy urban legend. You can see it's already budding. That's what I love about shrub rose, is they're really not picky. And I didn't amend the soil at all except for putting a little blood meal down. But aside from that, there's no new dirt in there. I just dug a hole in my lawn. Because I am really hoping that this fills in this gap. And These bulbs were here before my husband bought this house, and he always mows it down. So I told him to leave it this year, although we have these guys, which I hate them. They're edible. I think it's like a garlic something. Yeah, I can't eat them. Something about it just creeps me out. But these are beautiful, and they close up at night. And then we left some more motherwort because I'm hoping that these will go to flower very soon, and I can harvest these ones as well. But they honestly, like, they grow everywhere in the ground. And we just mowed for the first time. We didn't even mow. It was just like weed whacked for the first time all year. So it's not looking great, but we do it for the health of the lawn, for pollinators. So I think next week this will all be much prettier. And then this was all an elm that had just gone wild, I think. There's some sort of shrub here that my husband planted, and it was like overtaking the lawn. So we took it down in 2020, and it keeps coming back. So we're trying to like kill it off because we'd like to have an extension back here, and obviously we can't have this growing. So this is kind of the mess that we're looking at, but I'm hoping to plant like a Rose of Sharon here and have it just kind of cover that, because the Rose of Sharon grows in, I'll probably plant it right there, grows in some pretty shitty conditions. It's not picky, and it gets really, really big. And then my pride and joy, our blackberry bush. So it brambles all the way, and when the branches touch the ground, they can make so many babies. We did have another one growing right here, and my husband just cut it down yesterday because he didn't know, and over here. So maybe I'll dig them up next year before we cut the lawn. And I didn't get to pruning this year because you have to alternate between the Prima and Flora canes, I believe, and just never got to it this year. So we'll see what kind of berries we get. But we planted it in 2019, and we didn't get any berries until 2021 because our dog was eating the whole bush. So we're just like, oh, I guess like we can't grow this. And when he passed in 2021, that summer, this was full of berries, and I thought that was the cutest thing, that he was just having a little lunch every day. And just some potted plants that I did, super simple citronella. It does need full sun, which usually back here during the day, it's a good 6 hours. And then, yeah, don't mind the mess. We're still kind of cleaning. This is the Rose of Sharon that I will be planting over there. It's a Proven Winners pink chiffon. Look how pretty that is. And in this planter, I just do hostas because they live in here. They do pretty well. And up here, I like to do petunias and begonias. So it's just pink and white all in here. And I did plant some impatiens, and these guys are pink. Look how pretty. And then again, this little planter of begonias and impatiens. And then this planter is, I can't remember what it's called, but I will look it up. And they like part shade to full shade. So around like 1 o'clock, this is pretty shady back here. Yeah, I know it's not really anything special, but it's a work in progress constantly. And and it has been the hardest work, so I'm kind of proud of it. And yeah, hopefully this year we'll get some successful veg, and I'll update every month just so I can kind of see and document the progress.